All right, welcome to the Good Rookies podcast. My name is Fahim.
And my name is Nelly J, y'all, and we are Good Rookies.
That's right.
What's going on, everybody?
You can sing. I didn't know you could sing.
Yes, I can. What's up,
Those
everybody?
are some good rookies, you know.
Woo! So, y'all, welcome to the podcast episode number 49.
49.
Yes, y'all. So, guys, we are so excited. We have an amazing guest. This is my homie, my brother. I met him 2 months ago, but I feel like I've known him my entire life. Fahim, please introduce who we got.
All right, so definitely he's going to be our highlight feature for the Culture segment. We get to know a little bit more about him. But let's welcome Bobby Del Rio to the podcast today.
Bobby.
Hello.
Bobby.
Yeah.
Bobby.
You know.
Yeah, so funny.
Kinda
So yeah, I grew up singing in the church choir. You know, so I could do a little tune here and
You
there.
can hold
you know
a
what I'm
little note.
saying?
I was surprised you were holding
Little
back on
note.
the girl. I was like, what the?
I have been holding back.
Good rookie.
Oh my God, I'm
Crazy.
betting right now. I'm like, this is the best ever,
Wow.
Bobby. Like, Bobby is so dope. He's from
Mhm.
Toronto. He's from Canada, stand up Canada. And what's really cool about Bobby is that he does it all. Guys, he does it all. We're going to get into more of what he does and for the culture. But Bobby, how are you doing today, brother? How's it going thus far with the whole Toronto opening up with COVID?
To be honest, I feel pretty good about it. You know, I mean, we were chatting about it a little bit before, but it's nice to see some life in the city, man. Like, people are out, they're on patios, they're inside, they're like smiling. It's like, I remember we first started to we did like the patio thing, or like just like a couple weeks back.
Right.
People were looking like, you know what I mean? I think I asked somebody, "Hey, what's going on there?" He was like. Now it's like people are like, oh, we can actually interact as human beings again. Like, it's, you know, we're not fully there yet, but it's, I don't know, man. I feel like pretty hopeful for the first time in, was it been a year and a half now? I mean,
Yeah.
It's so long, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's so true. I share the same sentiments as you. And, you know, we outside, y'all. We outside in Canada,
Right.
finally.
Yeah.
But no, it's really amazing having you on, Bobby. You're so well-versed in so many things. And I know our listeners are going to learn a lot from you this episode. So I'm just excited.
Don't build me up like that. You're setting me up to fail. You know?
I'm really not. I'm really not. But for him, let's get into some hot topics for Bobby. Let's go. Let's go.
All right.
Do it.
All right, so let's make this the lead then. Let's discuss the effects of, actually, before we even get to discussing the effects, can we give some respect, a little round of applause for the NBA champions that's just been crowned? The Milwaukee Bucks.
Milwaukee Bucks.
Okay, yeah. That's not even a golf clap. That's,
You know, like,
it's like a mini putt
like
clap.
yes, but
Like, we'll take
you know,
it. We'll take it.
like, I'm hardcore Raptors, so I was
Right.
like, okay, and I'll say, because we talked about that before, but you know, if Kawhi stayed, that's our chip, right?
Bruh.
Kawhi stayed, that's our chip. That might be 3 in a row.
Right. That's what I was
That
going to
might be
say.
3 in a row.
Right. That's our
Woo!
dynasty. Not the
I
chip. That's our
covered the team.
dynasty.
I covered the team for an American website when we won the chip.
Mhm.
So, which was the only year I ever covered the Raptors, but it's like, it was crazy. But that year I knew I was actually the first journalist in North America to break the fact that, and it was actually on a podcast for TSN,
Oh, okay.
where our team was better without Kawhi than with Kawhi that year. Do you remember
In the
how
regular
that-
season.
Yes.
Right.
In the regular season, that
Right.
was All-Star break, and then that everybody was talking about, but I was the first one to point it out. I was like, what? Because on TSN, I was on the podcast and I brought that stat up. You know, we're actually better. We have a better record without him. People were like,
Right.
what? Is
Right.
that true?
Right.
Add it up.
Right.
With that, so we needed him. And so, I don't know. You know, I just, like, this year, I get it, but, like, we had the Giannis stopper. Do you know what I mean? Like, we had built that D, and what were you going to do? Nothing. Just cry and shoot jump shots.
Right.
And then throw a temper tantrum. And so now when they win a chip, I'm like, okay, you did. Every time you win a chip, you got to give respect for sure.
Right.
But you never came through us You never came through us when we were at full strength.
Thank you.
You got it, okay, but it's a weird year, you know, like everybody was injured and all the COVID shit, and then it's like the Raptors didn't even play in Canada. Like it was just like,
Yo, Bobby, I truly believe if the Raptors played in Canada, we're in the playoffs. I stick by that. We were the only team that had away games for the entire 72 season. So I believe in our fans. Our fans really give our players that was the confidence that they need. But yeah, y'all, we could have had a dynasty, man. Shoot. In Canada.
So I should have had a dynasty. And so here's the thing, like Kawhi makes his money, whatever, he wants to chill in LA, wherever the fuck he wants. Can I swear on this? I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to swear.
Go ahead, brother.
You're good. You're good.
But I was like, okay, bro, you left us. Fine. How many chips you get after that?
Nothing.
How many chips you get after that?
Nothing.
You left two more motherfucking chips on the table for what? For what? And now you're a bitch.
Home cooking. He left for home cooking. That's it.
I said it.
Warm weather. The beach. LA. The LA beach. But no, congrats to the Bucks. I mean, it's funny. Someone pointed out that the Tampa Bay Bucks and the Milwaukee Bucks both won the same year. So they're
I've seen that.
Is that some kind of conspiracy?
It's weird.
Conspiracy? It's like, it's true. Like, why is it both Bucks team winning? Like, what's happening? Anyway, just
so
it's a weird year for sports, right? So, like, again, like I'm hardcore sports. Like, literally, I was like a paid basketball writer for multiple years. You know, I didn't pay so much attention to any of the sports this year because I'm a hardcore fantasy guy, right? So I had articles published on Yahoo, and you know, I finished second place in the world, like in the most competitive fantasy basketball league in the world. Okay, like I'm like that guy. And this year, I was like, so I set my lineups. I do all the sports. Every day, it's like there's so many news got COVID, so many news injuries, all the protocols change, it's kind of, I get it. Like it's better to have this than no sports, but it's kind of not real. It's not full. You know what I mean? Everything is like watered down.
Okay, so let me ask what you think is watered down, Bobby, because there's 10 games less. So I think fair to say it's not like a shortened season. It is a shortened season, somewhat 10 games, but that's like 2 weeks, 3 weeks of basketball. I think enough basketball is played to say they went through the course.
Fair.
Injuries.
No fans.
Yeah,
yes.
That's a big thing.
Okay.
No
fans can make a difference.
No media pressure, really, because who's watching?
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
True.
And then it's like, I don't know, the COVID protocols, and how does that not affect, like, you know, if someone has to get tested and then they have to do the hotel and then they get sick and then they leave and then so for 3 weeks, and then how does that not affect chemistry? It's all the sports too. I mean, we can keep it limited to NBA right now, but for me, I kind of pay attention, but I'm just waiting for shit to get back to normal so I can see some real ball, to be honest. Raptors playing in the US all year?
Yeah.
That was the worst. That was the worst.
So I want the American Raptors?
The Tampa Raptors? Yeah. No, I get you. So let me ask this then. If the Raptors were at home and had fans, we can definitely agree they're in the playoffs.
100%.
This Raptor team, though, there's a difference between getting in the playoffs and getting through the playoffs.
But, okay, here's what I will say, though, because I really do think that this was a transition year for the whole league. So for me, if it's going to be a transition year for the league, if you're not going to win the chip, because obviously we weren't good enough to win the chip, I think we could have made a deeper playoff run, but we didn't have the team to win.
Right, we weren't contenders.
I'd rather get an asset for the future. I'd rather get better. You know, you have to think ahead. I'd rather get the financial flexibility. Right. Rather get the highest draft picks we can get. I'd rather just build assets for the future in a year that doesn't really matter.
That's fair. And I'm gonna throw this out to the floor now. How does this NBA championship that Giannis got, how does that affect his legacy? Like, where are you putting him?
Better. It makes it
definitely
better.
Definitely.
He's in the conversation. He wasn't even at the fucking party before. Now he's at the party.
What?
He's like, you just gave him a cocktail weenie. And he's like, oh, hello. But you don't put him in the combo for Kobe. You don't put him in the combo for MJ. You don't put him in the combo for Bron. I mean,
right?
He's in the convo now, but like
Yes.
he's
Right.
at the bottom. Of
So
the
let,
convo.
so what is this convo he's in? Let's go there.
Okay,
because
so,
I
so first of all, right, let's
Mhm.
list his accolades. So Giannis, he's only 26. He's an
Right.
NBA champion, a
Yeah.
Finals MVP, a
Right.
2-time league MVP, a 5-time All-Star, a 5-time All-NBA, 3-time first team, a 3-time All-Defensive first team, a 2020 Defensive Player of the Year, and 2017 Most Improved Player.
Yeah.
So my thing is this, right? Giannis is not a GOAT. No. However, he is someone where you can't say, I think people before didn't respect Giannis. They thought he was given MVPs because, you know, they like him, right? But
Right.
or people don't like the way he plays. Because, you know, like he's not like a flashy, like a Jordan or Kobe style player. He's very aggressive. He just bullies people on the court. Yeah, exactly. Like he's more of a I guess a Zion type, a smaller Zion, you know, like goes in the key, makes the drives in the key, very good defensive player around the rim, protection, like he's that kind of player. However, this guy, if you watch his playoff performance, right, he will make your team better and become a playoff contention because he's that good. And the fact that he scored 50 points in that game 6, like he definitely helped his team win. And for me, if someone said, Janelle, do you want Siakam and Fred VanVleet for Giannis? I'm taking that trade only because I really think that Giannis is someone that if you get the right players around him, he would be excellent, right? I think what happened with Bud was that they were trying to force Giannis into a player that he wasn't really ever going to be. And I think this year, Bud was like, you know what, Giannis, this is who you are. I'm gonna accept you. So I'm gonna get Drew Holiday to help you with defense. So they made the best adjustments to help Giannis be himself, but have everyone else, like at least Bobby Portis, like he freaking killed it the last 2 games, right? People like him, role players, step up and play in their position. So I think for me, he's one of the best role players I've ever seen. However, because he can't create his own shot like a KD or a Steph Curry, whatnot. Yeah, Steph Curry, whatever. He's but he's a great athlete, great basketball player. Is he the best player I've seen? No, he's kind of like a Duncan, like that basic, you know, like a Duncan player. Like they're great players.
Duncan was like one of the most fundamentally sound players.
Yeah,
of all time.
but what I mean though is that people didn't like the way Duncan played. They're like, he's so fundamental. It's so boring, right? You know what I'm saying? Like people were a fan of how he played, but he got the job done. So what I mean by that is I feel like Giannis is relative to that, where like, yes, you're gonna enjoy the way he plays, but he gets the job done. So I think it boosts his legacy. Yeah.
I don't know. I think what you said is interesting. I think you make some good points about his individual accolades. I will say he's got 1 chip. So all those things, cool. You got 1 chip in a COVID year with a watered down product against the Suns. And I just remember like when we built that wall against Giannis, and then he was completely shut down. There's no answer to that. So it's, you know, the Suns didn't know how to play him, so they lost. But if you can't shoot in the NBA, I mean, you're 26, so maybe you can learn. He's a good player for sure. But I don't know. That team is stacked in a weak year against a team that's not that's Suns. When was the last Suns? Was it their first finals?
No, the first finals.
Since Barkley? They haven't been there since Barkley, right?
Right.
So
yeah, I'm thinking Steve Nash and them didn't make it. Did they make it to the finals, Steve Nash?
No.
Omar, exactly.
Oh.
So
no, because Barkley was my favorite player. So I remember it was 93, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Look, they won the chips. You got to give it to them. But he still can't shoot. And I get it. You're a defensive player. You got a good team. Like, it's useful. But if you can't shoot in the NBA, how can you be relied on? Do you know what I mean?
Right. So, wow, there's a lot to unpack there. You guys both made some good points. So let's start here. Nelly J, you mentioned about Giannis. First thing you said is he's not a GOAT. Agreed. He's not a GOAT. I think we can agree. But at 26, for his accolades, he's on the path. He's on the GOAT path.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Well, I mean, guys, he's so
right.
he's so young. Again,
Right.
he's 26, guys. Like
Right.
LeBron at 26 didn't even have these
You'd be
accolades.
very hard pressed to find someone at 26 with his resume.
Exactly.
With, like,
Sure. 100%.
across the board. Right?
Absolutely. No,
His potential is immense.
It's immense.
Yeah.
Right.
Potential.
Right.
Bingo.
He's in his prime. So, Bobby, you were mentioning about the Suns and how, you know, they did against the Suns. And I get it from that aspect. But the Suns and I know regular season playoffs completely different. The Suns teams, actually, I had Bucks in 6. You remember, Nelly J? We talked the night before.
Yeah,
I called Bucks in 6.
Mm-hmm.
Solely off the fact of that Milwaukee they're like it's like men and boys. That's a veteran team. No one's won, but if you look at the Suns team, other than Chris Paul and Devin Booker, there's a bunch of
Crowder.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But I mean, there wasn't anything that showed a mature squad that I thought can do it. One thing with Giannis is he could have super teamed up, and, you know, as he mentioned, go and try and get a championship elsewhere, and he stayed in Milwaukee, one of the smallest NBA markets, and brought them a championship the following year after. That's something that needs to be commended.
Absolutely.
Because especially when we talk of people like, you know, KD and LeBron, and like when you talk about teaming up, just the fact that it's one thing for him to stay, and, you know, if he signed for a 4-year contract, you know, in the 3rd, 4th year, get a championship. He stayed, they made the adjustments, and he has what it takes to win. And the last thing I want to mention is this, because I know I've been going on, but I just want to mention this. Giannis and the theory that he can't shoot. I agree, he can't shoot. But for what he does other things that can compensate for the fact that he can't shoot, because he's proven he has the ability to be the most dominant player, not just offensively, but defensively. See the blocks he was doing. Like,
yeah, the key blocks in the 4th quarter. That was
Giannis
huge.
is a key presence. And when I look at
the Suns.
Okay, fair enough, because Ayton's his first time there. Ayton has potential, but he's not there yet. So I get that with the Suns. Yeah, I mean, I give Giannis.
Just remember how we shut him down. That's all I'm saying. Like, we shut him down. We cut the head of the snake off. And they couldn't get past us, right? So,
to his credit, though, Bobby.
Think
about this, though. To his credit, though, you're right. We shut him down, but to his credit, he came back. And he's learned from that clearly, because he wasn't the same player. Okay, you're going to say against the Suns.
Guys,
I get it, but his he just seemed to be a much better.
Let me ask you a question. Can he shoot now? Can he shoot now?
He's improved, but he's not a good. He's not a Donovan. He's not a DeMar DeRozan. You know what I'm saying? Like,
do this though. If we're going to say
their team is stacked, the Bucks team stacked. Drew Holiday's wet. I mean, they had a good team before. They have a stacked team. I think he's going to play. He's going to play. I'm not saying he's not a good player, but that team is good in a weak year against competition is unproven. An offensive.
Yeah, I mean,
they won the chip. You got to give them respect.
Yeah, exactly. See, the thing, right? The thing is that what I will say is one thing I did recognize, Freeman, that you mentioned, and Bobby, you mentioned as well, is the fact that, like, every player has their thing, right? Like what they're really good at, right? And Giannis is really good at just playing basketball, but really being a dominant presence on the court. Like, you have to think about him as a coach playing against him. Like, you know what, this guy's a problem. Whereas I think that right now there's no defensive person that can stop a Giannis on any team. However,
let me ask you a question.
What the Raptors did, remember, we were switching up on Giannis with Siakam and Kawhi. So those two players combined were able to corner him and make him have to think about what he wants to do. Remember, also Marc Gasol and Serge. So we just had a good team of defensive players that year that made him not do what he could do, right? Whereas the Suns did not even have that. They had no Serge or Mark or whatever. So I see what Bobby's saying. However, what I will say about Giannis, though, what I respect about him is the fact that he could have left last year, guys, and gone to the Lakers. He could have went to the Clippers. He had many options, and he said, I'm going to stay in Milwaukee. And we all know in this era of super teams, if he was American, that guy would have been out of there. He would have been out, right? But he stayed. So I think the international players are kind of showing more loyalty to smaller markets than the American or Canadian, I guess, type players.
I
Your
ahead,
thoughts
agree,
Bobby.
on that?
but I guess what does this have to do with his legacy is the only thing. Like he's a nice guy. He got what chip? Okay, it's potential. Okay, name one top 50 NBA player who can't shoot.
Shaq.
Name one.
Shaq.
Okay, but like he's the most dominant.
Shaq the most dominant, yeah,
in NBA
ever.
history. Like you don't need to shoot if you're you know.
Oh, hold on. I have another one. Sorry. You said top 50. You didn't say Hall of Fame, right? You said top 50.
Yeah, top 50.
Fair
enough. Okay.
Yeah.
Because we're talking legacy. That's the only.
Yeah,
Right.
legacy. Yeah, but you know what? I will say it's exciting to see what happens next. Like this will only make his legacy better. And if he can win Milwaukee too, then okay, because they're small. That's a discussion. But right now it's a COVID year. Good job, you won. What kudos to you.
Right.
But I'm not gonna say Giannis is the best player on planet Earth. No, I'm not there
So
yet.
on the way out, I want to mention this. So Giannis at 26
Yes.
is already his resume is equivalent to Kevin Garnett. Look it up, actually.
Yeah, I believe you.
Like I'm talking, and that's I know, Bobby. I seen the look, but if you look it
Yeah,
up,
but
they're very.
Kevin
and he's
Garnett's
20
overrated. That's all I'm saying. Like,
Okay.
what did KG really do? Got one chip.
I love Bobby.
One
I
chip.
love Bobby.
I thought I was a
Yeah.
hater. Like, what's
I-
going on?
I'm just keeping it
Listen,
real though. Right?
Yo, Bobby keeps
He's
it
got one chip.
100. Okay, 100 out
All
here.
right.
I love
Remember,
it.
he did it with Paul Pierce in his prime.
Rondo.
Right.
Rondo coming up. Ray Allen in his prime.
Right.
KG was like, he's wet. He was wet. He put up the numbers on the T-Wolves.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, like, so when I was a basketball writer, I remember I wrote a lot about our NBA superstars overrated.
Mm-hmm.
Our NBA superstars overrated, and then you look at those trades, like look at the Kawhi thing, and like, okay, so they get Paul George, they get Kawhi, right, and then they give up how many draft picks? I mean, I can't even. What is the number of draft picks and pick swaps? It's like somewhere like 8 to 12 different picks for one guy. And I have to admit, I'm so happy he hasn't won a chip.
Mm-hmm.
Right, 2 years. Is he going to bounce? Is he going to who? I don't care anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, it's interesting to me that there's this ethos that you have to like get the superstar and pay him the thing and like gut your team and gut the next 15 years of your franchise to get them, but then they don't win.
Mm-hmm.
So why did you do that then? So with KG, yeah, he was good, but that team was stacked, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's all I'm saying, right? Is that you have to have that alpha, right? Like we needed Kawhi to put us over the top, but that team was stacked as well.
The Raptors were really good.
And let's not forget, when we won the chip, that final was a game 6. Kawhi sucked that game. It was Fred VanVleet who won us the game.
Right.
Not that he didn't have a role, and he was obviously a great player, but I'm just saying our team, it was very underrated, like how good that team was across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so true.
That's fair.
So true.
That's what I'm saying.
So with the Tokyo Olympics about to start just now, with COVID and the cases, they seem to be rising, and that can be a problem if you're at the start of an international event such as the Olympics. Let's start with, do you think that they're going to get to the end of the Olympics, first of all? Do you think they have to close it down? No.
Yeah,
you think
there's no way they're going to make it to the end. And here's why, okay? If you look at the bubble setting the NHL had and the NBA had for their leagues, it was really airtight because players stayed at specific hotels. It was on a Disney resort, and there was security where you couldn't even go anywhere. Like you couldn't even leave a certain part of the hotel because security would be like, no, KD, you cannot leave this premise, right? They were locked down in Tampa. That's why if you left, like what Lou Williams did to go to a strip club, he was like 2 weeks out, right? Let's be real, right? But in the Olympics, though, in Tokyo, like these athletes are not staying in their bubble. They're leaving the actual I guess what's it called, the Olympic, I guess what do you call it? The
Olympic
village. Yeah, they're leaving the village, and they're having an honor system. Hey guys, don't leave your room, guys. they're not gonna listen to
totally. No problem.
Sure, right? And
I'm not gonna go have sex with everybody. No way. I'm not
right?
interested.
Yo, they even said that they weren't gonna give out condoms because they're trying to reduce sexual intercourse. Y'all,
They're just gonna create babies. That's all they're gonna do.
it's gonna be. Listen,
Man.
and I've heard some rumors about the Olympic Village, y'all. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Those aren't
So-
rumors. They for days. That's the only reason you go to the Olympics. If you can't get laid at the Olympics, you can't get laid.
Yeah,
Let's
like
keep it real.
Olympics, let's say, y'all, I'm saying that. So my thing is that with all this honor system, if they don't say, like, if there's no gated systems to block the people from leaving,
Mhm.
y'all, it's gonna be locked down. And that's why I'm saying, like, it's not the security isn't airtight like the NHL did or the NBA did with their bubble. Your thoughts on Bobby? Your thoughts on the Olympic Village, and do you think that these athletes are gonna be obedient and not?
No, hell no. Would you? Well, that's the thing. It's like because it's like everyone's in their 20s. They have like perfect bodies, right? They want to let loose. They're fucking finally there. Most of them are gonna fucking lose. You just fuck everybody. Like that's all you do, right? That's it. The only thing here's where I disagree. I love everything you said, but I do think the Olympics will finish. But I think it's gonna suck. That's what I think. I think the quality, it's just like ball this year, like NBA, like all sports. But
Like not all the athletes that are going to be able to perform.
watered
right?
down product. But they make too much money. They make too much money to shut it down. You can't shut the Olympics down.
Well, what happens is that in Japan, there's a surge in COVID in the country itself. So that's the problem. So what they're saying is that if that surge leaks into the village, the IOC said they'll have to shut it down because right now cases are rising. I think there's 67 cases currently as of today. So they're saying that
if they care so much, why are they using the honor system?
Right.
Listen, they have to have like legit, like they have to have like barricades and like actual like big walls built around the village. That's the only way, because to say, oh, I'm just gonna go, like, come on, man. And remember, right? First of all, if I'm a guard in Japan and you give me $50 US to go outside, bro, thank you. Go on. Like, I'm not gonna stop you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just too easy. It's too easy.
So here's I'm with Bobby. I do think they're going to finish the Olympics. They're too deep in to not play this through. That's a very good point. We are going to talk about a watered down product. I just think so we watched the finals, NBA finals. We saw the Deer District that they had, the Jurassic Park knockoff.
Yes.
Deer District.
Yeah. So Milwaukee.
Just the name. I'm just like.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
but
Here, you know, like
with the Jurassic Park, there was approximately estimated between 10 and 20,000 outside the stadium. That was a lot of people. They estimated you're looking about 65, 70,000 outside the Deer District. So when I'm watching the finals and I'm seeing 70,000, as they're panning through, I'm not seeing a ton of masks. So I'm just wondering if you have people, and especially, you know, one of the advisories that they had for preventing COVID is, you know, keeping your mouth covered, try not to like yell, talk loud, anything that's going to spray out molecules and whatever. You have 70,000 people cheering their hearts out for the team who just won the championship, and within like a 4-block radius. My eye is actually on Milwaukee to see if there's a surge in cases in Milwaukee, just due to the fact of that one event. If I don't see in 2 weeks a surge in every county in Milwaukee, it has me thinking what's going on. Now, how I'm going to wheel this back to the Olympics is these athletes are actually performing at empty stadiums, right? So there's not going to be any fans there. They're going to try their best to seclude them also. But at the end of the day, if you think about it, but you mentioned it best, where it's going to be a watered down product. And if you have a watered down product, I don't see viewership is going to be that high. This is the Olympics. What do you guys think about the viewership? Do you think the viewership is going to maintain the Olympics? Because a lot of the headlines, I'm not seeing a buildup. Yeah, I'm not seeing a buildup. I'm not hearing about, like, it's almost like it's happening, but it almost feels like maybe the Pan Am Games. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't have that Olympic panache.
Nobody cares.
You know what? Yeah.
Nobody cares.
But you know what, too? I think because we've all been locked down, and now it's summertime, and everyone's gonna be outside, right? People are gonna want to be outside with their family and friends, and not be in front of a TV screen watching the Olympics all day. You know, whereas like typically after a year of shutdown, people want to be hanging out. Like that's why I think this year it is going to be a bit different. Like the NBA, like NHL last year, how their viewership went down drastically. I think this year we're going to see the same numbers. It's going to be low compared to previous Olympics. That's all. Yeah.
Yeah, I do think though the season, all the seasons after, like from the fall up, we're gonna hit records. And it's like records, constantly records. Like once shit like opens up legit,
right,
crazy.
Right. That's fair.
Yeah.
All right, so Nelly J, let's go to For the Culture.
For the culture, we like to highlight individuals that are for the culture. And God, y'all, today we get to highlight Mr. Bobby Del Rio. Bobby.
Ooh.
So Bobby Del Rio.
Oh, that was nice. You can sing.
So y'all, really? Oh, Bobs. So listen, y'all, so let me kind of list out what he has done and what this man is still doing. So he's an actor, writer, filmmaker, producer. He graduated from U of T at Sheridan College Theater and Drama Studies program. He has done so many amazing things. So I'm going to list out a few for y'all. Okay, first, he mentioned earlier that he wrote an NBA columnist for fantasy basketball for Yahoo for 3 years. He covered the Raptors as well. He's a writer and director of the Market feature film, which is available on Amazon Prime in the US and Canada. Creator and showrunner of IRL, the series, sold to the Bell Media. In 2003, he founded Canada's largest multicultural network in theater, film, TV called Include, which has created tons of jobs for the BIPOC community for over 2 decades. He's one of the top playwrights in the country. He's been interviewed by hundreds of people, by hundreds of, TV shows, even live interviews for Breakfast Television, Bravo, San Diego Comic-Con, to name a few. And he's still developing film and TV series till this day. Also, he is on Clubhouse moderating the best rooms. His club is called Bobby Del Rio, as that's his name. That's right. His rooms, Italians in Hollywood, Bollywood meets Hollywood, film TV people who get shit done, men supporting women in TV film, and international film financing. Y'all, the man is busy, busy, busy. Bobby Del Rio, brother, you are for the culture. That's right. First of all, I just said so much, and I'm like, how does he do this? So, Bobby, how's your schedule like? Like, do you sleep? Like, do you sleep at all sometimes, or?
It didn't feel like a lot, and then when you said that, I was like, oh shit, that's a lot of stuff. You know? I don't know. I just do it. I mean, and I could list more and more and more, and I have so many more things, and I just do it. You know what I mean? I don't like to sit. I guess for me, I've been grinding for so long. I just grind and forget. Like, I don't really think about what I've done. I just kind of like do things. And then I look back and someone asked me for a bio and it's long. And I'm like, oh, I guess I'm just in a moment. You know what I mean? I just kind of do what I got to do. And I will say, yeah, I don't sleep that much. And I'm very busy and I'm very in demand in many, many different ways all the time. I like it that way. But I don't know. I just try to like stay humble, stay grounded, do what's in my heart, help people, make my shit.
It's interesting you said that, because I'm curious to know if you can talk to younger Bobby Del Rio, let's say 15-year-old Bobby Del Rio, 15 to 18, right? What would you tell him that, I guess, something that you learned now that you wish that you knew when you were younger?
Sure. Have more fun. Like, I meet people. I said this today, actually, in Yvette Vargas's room in New Hollywood. And there's a lot of younger people there, right? Newer to the industry. And everyone's grinding hard. And I'm just like, just like chill a little bit. Like, just chill. And because you keep people like, it's show business. business. I mean, it was like you hear like 1,000 variations of that, right? It's like, is that your friends? It's your business. Like people just freak out all the time, right? And I'm like, yeah, but it's also, I was like, it's also a show. It's also a show. And it's also like, don't forget that in the entertainment industry, you can entertain. Like, I think that people forget to have fun. And so I was, because I was definitely in my 20s, like, I was like a little asshole, you know what I mean? It's like, man, you know, and it's like just trying to like make it or whatever. And it's like, making it is like a state of mind. Do you know what I mean? Like some people call me a celebrity. I don't know. In their minds, I am. Some people don't know who I am. Some people do. This is just what it is, right? Like for me, it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter who you are. Not everybody's going to know you, right? So I think you have to like be you, do you. For me, it's more important to enjoy the journey and to be honest, to treat the people around you as well as you can. And I think that's an underrated part of this thing is that, you know, as you know, she's in my rooms, right? I mean, she sees the way I treat people, right? It's like, I'm here to help people. I build community. I'm like, you know, I'm doing my best to like be like a positive force, not just in the industry, but in the world, right? Like the whole point of what I'm doing is to create sort of like Hollywood Connects, media influence, and then change the world after that, right? So it's like, use that and solve like third world poverties, solve the AIDS crisis, like solve like, you know, a lack of clean water. Like this is what I'm about, right? It's not just about, let me get famous and go to the strip joint and snort coke out of a hooker's ass or whatever people do. You know, like, I don't know. I feel very like responsible in terms of like, let me be like part of the solution, right? And so, yeah, I don't know. I think people get too twisted in thinking about their own shit and they forget that there's a lot of other people around too, you know?
Yeah, no, it's a great point you mentioned that because I think a lot of us forget to have fun while we are grinding. I think sometimes you just grind. So y'all, you heard it from Bobby Del Rio. Have fun. Don't let the stress of your goal like limit your enjoyment of hitting your goal. You know what I'm saying? Like it has to be hand in hand. So I'm curious to know, Bobby, because you love sports and you also are into film. So I'm curious to know, did anything kind of like correlate? Like, was it something in sports you learned that helped you in your film journey and vice versa?
Yeah. I mean, look, I wrote hundreds of articles, right, about basketball. So that helps me in all aspects of writing. I mean, you're always writing proposals. It's like, it actually, there's like a sort of like arrogance of the writer, the contemporary writer. There's like a pretentiousness. There's like I think a lot of writers think that the writing matters, and it does, but the writing matter, where it's like, you're really just typing, right? Like, it's like, I think people need to kind of get over themselves. And I was definitely like that at the beginning of my career. But as you get older, like, it's really about the story. It's really about the team. It's really about the community. It's really about the collaboration. Like, I remember hearing like Woody Allen, like, Woody Allen's he's like the most famous screenwriter ever, right? He's the most awarded screenwriter ever, right? In terms of Oscars. And apparently, like, if an actor doesn't like a line, he's like, okay, change it. And I remember thinking, what? But I can't, like, now as I'm 43 now, right? So I'm over 20 years in the business. I work in Hollywood now. I'm working with some of the top producers in the world. Like, it's crazy what's happening with me right now behind the scenes.
Right.
I'm super chill about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I'm not like it's funny. Like, I'm always like, why am I so chill right now? Like, I'm like at this like high level every day. I would get like a new thing, right? And I'm like, all right, cool. Like, it's just like, literally, I'm talking to like billionaires and we're talking ball like this because everybody's a person, you know what I mean? And I think it's like people who like grind too hard, you know what I mean? It's like, you're just like, okay, like, fuck off. Like, we just want to hang out right now. Like, what I find, especially like at the highest levels, it's really about who connects for real. Like, humans. Like, I love Janelle. She's amazing. She comes on my room. She's good vibes, positive. We just hang out, like, whatever. Like, yeah, it's a podcast. It's like that's my vibe. And you can really see like people who are trying to like prove themselves at the beginning. It's not even necessarily only at the beginning, but it's very difficult, I find, to be successful at the highest levels if you're too up your own ass about this stuff. You have to like breathe, right? And you have to like chill and like be a good person. Like it's very, very important. It's actually a very important part of the process too, because you're spending a lot of time with people when you work on some of these projects. So you have to like get along like a team, right?
So on the way out of For the Culture, I have two quick questions I'm going to ask, all right?
Sure.
First is, I'd like you to kind of clarify what I've heard and see if you can give any input on it.
Yeah.
First is Spike Lee. Spike Lee, he's spoken in the past about being a Black director and finding it hard to get funding for his films in Hollywood. Now, since the unfortunate George Floyd situation, which has given an awakening to the industry in regards to equality, you're very much involved in regards to assisting with BIPOC. I'm just wondering, what do you feel has changed now to possibly make funding or things like that more accessible for minorities or BIPOC directors?
Okay, first thing I'll say is I don't know if the lighting's fucked up, but I'm not Black, just so you know. I don't know, maybe you need to change the setting. So look, if Spike is you know, saying what he's saying, like he's, I don't know, maybe the most respected Black filmmaker ever. So 100%. But I've definitely seen a change for sure. With that said, there's a lot of suspicions as to how real the change is, because there's still a lot of people of color in the real positions of power at the highest levels of Hollywood. I am new to the US market, but I'm in on all the convos on Clubhouse. I will say I am directly working with multiple high-level Hollywood producers. And there's definitely frustrations in the African-American community for sure. And I know in New Hollywood, Yvette Vargas's group, we're having this conversation every week. There's definitely some people who are getting stuff made, but I will say at that highest of the high level, it still feels very similar to me. And all the people who have the highest status, at least on the app, although I think it's industry-wide, still look the same to me. Because there was always like one or two, right? Because Spike's had a great career. But who else? Like, so now it's kind of like, it still feels like that same way. I do think it's better. Like, there'll be like an Asian woman. There'll be like, there's a couple more. But if you really look at the circles of power, it still kind of looks the same to me.
Right.
I'm new to the market. I will say I'm having some crazy opportunities. So there's a change for me. But also I'm half white. I'm not Black. So it's a different, there's not too many, you know, and then colorism is a thing. And then it's like how, you know, like white adjacent is a thing. And you know what I mean? Like, so, because sometimes it's like, I feel like they want to get the most whitewashed people ever. And like what I have found is sometimes you get the people of color who are worse than white racist people,
right? Because
they'll kill their own people. They'll go on television and they'll say the shit that like the racist white people can't say. And I don't think all white people are racist,
right?
But some are. But if you take somebody who's from, I don't know, they could be Black, they could be Asian, they could be whatever. There's some self-hating motherfuckers out there, and you put a camera on them, they can be even more dangerous.
Yeah.
So I do think things are getting better, but I don't think that they're as good as the media may have you believe. There's more opportunities to begin, but at the highest levels, it still feels the same to me. But I will say for me, my career is exploding. But I don't even know if people know I'm not white. I'm half Chinese, but so in terms of your actual question, I think the conversation is evolving.
Okay.
Yeah.
one last thing on the way out. Here's how. So you spoke about opportunity. How big of an opportunity is missed for at Tokyo Olympics breakdancing? It's supposed to debut this
I'm a
Olympic,
b-boy from time, so I know.
and you used to breakdance.
I can still do it. Don't
You
hate.
can
No
still
way,
okay.
Bobby. I didn't know that about
Hey,
you.
bro.
See, I'm
Yeah.
learning. I'm
He-
learning stuff about you
He
now.
used to
Okay.
breakdance.
Limited power moves, but I can do it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so you used to
My
breakdance.
floor
So,
was pretty good. I circles around. Yeah. I can still do all the shit though. Don't hate. Don't
Yeah.
worry.
Whoa, okay.
So how
We're gonna have
disappointed
to get
are
a
you?
video.
how
Yeah.
disappointed are you that the circumstances of when this is going to be debuted is under this COVID situation?
Yeah. So
Are you-
wait, what's the
I was just
question?
asking, how disappointed are you that
I mean,
with the debut being not when it seemed like it's going to be a highlight at all?
I think it's hard to like be too critical now when people are just trying to like keep the ship
Mhm.
afloat, right? So
Yeah.
I give people a pat. I'm not like hating NBA for giving us a watered down product, but I'm still gonna call it a watered down product. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Yeah.
I think people are trying to get back to normal. So there's gonna be a lot of things are gonna slip through the cracks in their attempts to just keep going.
Mhm.
I think if because of the lack of attention it leads to long-term consequences, that would suck. But I don't know, man. To be honest, like maybe it's I'm just older or something. Like,
Yeah.
but I'm more chill about this kind of stuff because you see a lot of ebb and flow, right? Like we'll go back to the conversation about racism, which is still real, but it's not like we made it. It's every year is different, right? Like so there's some years at the Oscars where it's like the representation is on point, and then it goes back the next year and you're like, wait, what the fuck? Like what happened?
Yeah.
So you don't really it's hard to know. It's not linear, right? So I think that you just kind of have to roll with the punches and keep it going. That's why it's like very important to keep the pressure on politically.
Yes.
But you also have to be complex. Protests are important, but also you need people on the inside. Also, you need like people who are just grinding on the business side. Do you know what I mean? You kind of have to hit it from all angles all the time.
So, Bobby, will you be watching the breakdancing at the Olympics? Just a quick yes or no.
I'm so busy, so I guess it depends, right? Like I'll probably watch it on YouTube or something like that, but not.
Yeah,
live.
exactly. To say like the YouTube.
Yeah.
Because I do think people will watch it more after it happens. Like, oh, this person won, and then they're gonna go on YouTube and look it up. So Bobby, my last question for you. I love the end of the question for this. Okay, before we go to That's Absurd,
Sure.
what is your advice for someone trying to pursue their career either in sports media or in film? Like, what's one piece of advice you'll give someone that currently is today trying to get into that industry?
Okay, it's a good question. Very relevant, obviously, for you, and I'm sure for your viewers. The competition is unlike anything I've experienced in my career. So I've been working professionally since the 90s. I've been paid to act for 27 years. I have never seen a more competitive media landscape in my life. Even on Clubhouse, you know, like I hit over 18,000 followers. There's people who are like just talking about, I don't know, marketing or they're vegan or something, and they have like 40,000 followers. I'm like, what? Like, in a way, like I'm now competing against somebody baking cookies or whatever. Like every single person in a way is in competition with every single person for media attention, right? So what I would say is whatever it is, whatever your lane is, right? If it's sports media, if it's film, to be honest, if it's anything being amplified through social media, which is pretty much every business now, you have to offer something that nobody else is offering because there's a billion of everything. I will say for me, part of the reason I get so much attention beyond just my personality and things I've done is that I pivoted halfway through Clubhouse where I'm usually the only film person on all the business stages. So they know me there, right? And that blew me up next level. So you have to always, and I'll probably make another move next week and next week and next week. Like now I have a new girlfriend. She's amazing. and we're kind of like being branded in a way accidentally like a couple, but we're actually talking to somebody about getting American agents for branding and sponsorships, and partly because we're a couple, right? So it's like there's always new opportunities. So what I found specifically in this evolving media landscape, you always have to do everything differently from everybody else, because if you're just the same, you're nothing.
Yeah. So originality, pretty much, like being original, and that will stem from you being yourself, right? Because there's only one Bobby Del Rio. There's only one of you, so no one can
There were
copy
four.
you.
I killed the other three, so there's only one left.
Because I do believe what you said. I think that the most unique brand is yourself, and you being honest and to serve and help others, right? If you're from a place of self, then it's not going to work out. So y'all heard it from Mr. Moderator himself, actor. He has credentials. So if he's saying it, clearly it's going to work. So I wish you all the luck and success. Be yourself, be original, and of course, come from a place of good intent. That's it, y'all. So for the culture, Bobby, dope. Let's go to our last segment, Fahim. That's absurd.
Let's go to That's Absurd.
That's absurd, Fahim, bro. What was absurd this week, Fahim? What was absurd?
So there was negative comments.
Dang, when's your album coming out?
Negative comments from media representatives, Clay Travis and Meg Kelly, regarding Naomi Osaka and her Sports Illustrated swimsuit cover. Absurd.
Yo, people are bored, eh? People are absolutely bored. Bobby, your thoughts on these two people who decided to say they said if you're dealing with mental health issues and you don't want to be interviewed at these French Opens, how can you pose for a picture for magazine covers? Bobby, what's your thoughts on that? Is mental health have only one look? Like, I'm sorry, I didn't know mental health had only one view. It's crazy.
Okay, so I'm not as militant as I used to be. I kind of started my activist career like a Chinese Italian Malcolm X. And I've slowly become MLK, right? Like over time, like, can't we just all be friends? You know? But this is some straight up racist fucking bullshit, right? Like this is just a way to sort of like inadvertently take power away from people of color. It's just like, I fucking hate that shit. It's so obvious to me, but you can't go out and say it, right? It's like you have to like undercut people. Like if you see the amount of criticism that people get when they're not white in the media, it's like, we know what you're doing. And then it's like what you're saying doesn't even make sense. It doesn't make sense, right? It's just a way to chop somebody down to the knees.
Yeah,
it's disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. And Naomi said her comment was do better, just classy. She just classy, Naomi. She's like, I'm not going to argue. There's a saying, don't argue with an idiot because they will bring you down to their level and beat you with experience, right? So why argue with these people? And Naomi took the high road, which I liked. But I think for us, it's just obvious that, I think people think mental health means that if you're saying I have mental health issues, that I'm in a corner crying and I can't function. And the people today, guys, in your life that are depressed and that are smiling in your face. Okay. So we need to stop this stereotype that mentally ill has a look. It doesn't have a look. That's why we have Bell Media Talk Days, because it does not have a look. You have to dig deeper. And if they don't tell you they need help, you don't know they need help because they cover it so well. So just a very ignorant, stupid comment, like Bobby said, racist as F. And it was completely absurd. Period.
So what she I want to quote her real quick. She said, let's see, I said hashtag instead of quote. I was gonna say hashtag. Since she says she's too introverted to talk to the media after tennis matches, Naomi Osaka has launched a reality show, a Barbie, and now is on the cover of the Sports Illustrated issue. So I guess she's pretty, there's no sensitivity to the fact that Naomi Osaka is a person first. I guess she did think that this was all happening after or during, not knowing that a lot of this stuff is in delay, meaning she took those photos for the swimsuits last year. But it really shouldn't matter. She shouldn't have to explain to anybody.
No.
I saw her on Netflix, Naomi Osaka's series on Netflix. Thumbs up, really very introspective into who she is as a person, and just keep her head up. We support her.
Naomi, we got you, girl.
If they're throwing darts at your back, like they're behind you, you know what I mean?
Oh,
Ooh.
I just came up with that. I just came up with that.
Mic drop.
That's
okay.
all right, eh? I'm gonna use that again.
Listen.
You need to start a quote book. That was proper.
Hello.
That's my
No,
first one.
Actually, you should, Bobby, because Bobby always has really good quotes. Very good quotes. Yes.
All right.
I
So
put that on Facebook in like 10 minutes. So
He's like, I'm pretty good, huh? Well, you are a writer. You are a writer.
all right, let's put this episode in the books.
Y'all, that was episode 49.
49.
49. So, Bobby, oh my gosh, bro, thank you for coming on the podcast. You were amazing. We love to give our special guests like yourself a chance to do a special shout out. So the floor is yours.
All right. Yeah, I just want to say appreciate being on episode 49. I know you're gonna crush it on episode 50. People of color, like, just getting it done, man. Much love and respect.
Thank you, Bobby. My shout out is very short. It's to you, Bobby Del Rio. Thank you for just blessing us today. It's been, amazing. We always talk, but now I get to see him. But oh my God, I met Bobby in real life. Well, on Zoom. So it's obviously just as good.
That's real life now.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Also, I want to shout out, I think it's Alex Felix. Sorry. So Allison Felix, what she's going to be doing is that she'll be paying for, I think any woman that will be there in terms of like maternal. So like any mothers and so forth, she'll be covering expenses for them. So
at the Tokyo Olympics, correct?
Yeah. So let me get the exact what she'll be doing. Yeah. I want to make sure I get it right. So Allison Felix will be covering childcare costs for all athletes at Tokyo Olympics, which is incredible. Like, who does that? Mm-hmm. So Allison, a gold Olympian, I think a 4-time Olympian now, her 4th Olympics now. She's just a rock star. So, like special shout out to her for doing that for the people.
Nice.
Yeah.
My shout out's quick. I just want to shout out Bobby. Never met you before. Heard about you from Nelly J. And she started with... you were saying, oh, you know what, you don't want to disappoint by that intro. I think after this 45, 50 minute process here, you've proven that you stepped up to the plate and knocked it out the park. So well done. All right.
Good. Thank you.
Ooh,
all right.
And
let's put this episode in the books.
Guys, that was episode 49. If you had a good time, if you enjoyed yourself, please subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Fahim.
Tell a friend to tell a friend. Get ready. Episode 50 is coming out. And that's going to be the big one. We want to get everyone's support. And thank you for tuning in. That's Good Rookies Podcast, episode 49. And we out.
Bobby Del Rio. Good Rookies. Woo.